We're living in troubled and trying times. There's no doubt about that. But the story of Black history is one of resilience, and it's one of resurgence. It's one of renewal. We know from the pioneers that paved the way for all of us standing here today that we will emerge from these times stronger as a community and with the hope that has been present throughout our history.
You have to understand that racism is just as part of America as apple pie and all that stuff, you know? And we know that Black people weren't included when the Constitution and all that was made, so we had to make our own way in this country through human rights. You know, we had to show that we're not what Darwin says, we're human beings. You know, we have the same mechanics and all that. But going through what happened in Oshkosh taught me how to speak to power.
It's trauma. A lot of the trauma has to do with their living conditions, poverty, lack of access to resources. And when you have chronic stress in your life every single day, and you are a person of color who also has additional barriers to overcome as it relates to stigma, discrimination, institutionalized racism, it can be very, very overwhelming. And, you know, when I think about it, I think about how resilient many of the people that I work with every day, my staff work with every day, to be able to come and meet with us to help them get to a better place in their life.
Wiley Hub a couple of weeks ago came out and said that Wisconsin is the most segregated state in the union. I think it was probably 5 or 6 years ago. It was either the ACLU or Teaching for Tolerance that graded states on civil rights education, and Wisconsin was dead last in terms of content. So for me, rather than investing more into special education to better support Black students, I think Tony Evers needs to meet with Jen Cheatham and her staff and figure out how the state of Wisconsin can support Black excellence.
I don't have time to wait for legislators to figure out what to do with our kids, because tomorrow I will be back in court sentencing children. So I don't have time to wait. I need some help now. We need resources now. I need opportunities for these young people now. I need way to support families now. And so for me, if we're going to talk about dismantling criminal justice, we have to figure out how do we break apart this pipeline. That school to prison is fine, but from my perspective, it is the child welfare to juvenile delinquency to adult prison pipeline. And right now, we are pulling children from one traumatized system to the next. And there's nothing, there's nobody talking about it because that's not the sexy topic. But right now, I'm telling you, right now, we have to address that.
History is personal. It's about the here and now, who we think of as worthy. You know, who we think of as being contributing members to our society, who we think of as having a proper say-so in our larger society. Voting has always been contested in this state from the very beginning. And when we're thinking about contemporary voting laws and voting changes, to think about it only in the present is very problematic. It has always been contested. It was contested from the very first elections in this state. It was contested before it was a state, right? And it was contested on grounds of race and gender. And so when we're passing voting laws, when our legislators are passing voting laws, and those of us who vote for those legislators are passing voting laws, we have to ask ourselves, how are we doing this, and why are we doing this, and who does it affect? And are we continuing legacies of discrimination?